to watch this. So today I have a very, very special guest. I met this man, I don't know, it's been maybe a couple of years now. And to listen to his story really just blew my mind. He went, just to give you a little inkling, he went from being an employee of this company to owning it with over 600 employees. And his story of just, look, he didn't come from big means. He doesn't have pedigree. He didn't come from like, some noble family out of, England or anything like that. But this is a man who's accomplished a lot. And what really, really impressed me is his humility and how he treats people was just, I saw it at an event that he invited me to. I saw it when he had me come and speak with his employees because he actually, get this, ready? He cares. I was so blown away that I said, no wonder they're doing a documentary on you. The man's written a book. He's just so accomplished. But when you look at it on paper, probably I would say the odds were stacked against him. So I want him to talk today about just his story and I want to invite all of you to say, look, you are not your job. You are not where you're at. And if you aspire for other things, part of it is having courage. So without further ado, where's my guy, Jose? I know I saw you.
I'm here.
There
I'm
you are.
here.
So please help me welcome Jose Badillo because his story is
Hey,
crazy. How you doing, my friend? Good morning.
hey, I'm doing great. Good morning,
It is
Ed.
good
How
to
are
see you.
you? Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. So, Jose, I'm going to moderate. Tell
Okay.
me a little bit about your background and how you grew up, like when you were a kid.
Yeah, for sure. Can you hear me pretty good? I want
Oh
to
yeah,
make
we can hear
sure.
you.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, welcome. I'm happy to be here with the BNG family and share my crazy little wild story. What you were talking about just a second ago about the pain of some people's life challenges is perfect segue into my story, I guess, because I think sometimes the pain of life, you think it's better on. They always say you think it's better on the other side. Well, it's probably not, right? Um, I've been through so much in my life, and I'll try and keep it short and sweet. But basically, um, I'm Jose from San Jose. I tell everybody to remember me, hopefully. And I'm hoping that years ago I was going through a lot of pain, and I watched this video of Tony Robbins on TV, and he said, I don't know what he said, but there was something that sparked something inside of me, and I don't even know what it was, but I just remember ever since that moment, I started to dream bigger, feel better and to start to create something in my life. So whatever I say today, I hope that it sparks something inside everybody. And so basically, I grew up in California, grew up without a dad. I was the mama's boy, one of the youngest of the family. And I started off kind of okay in a good home with my mom. But around the age of 6 or 7, my stepdad took my younger brother to Mexico, took off and disappeared, and almost like kidnapped my little brother and moved out of the house. And so my mom had a nervous breakdown. She was working at a high-tech company, Silicon Graphics back then, building computers, and she had a nervous breakdown, became alcoholic. We lost our home. We ended up sleeping in our car. I ended up living with my grandma. So we went through this whole life struggle around the age of 6 or 7. And then about the age of 11, I ended up getting involved in gangs with my older brother and sister. Um, my mom was still going through her challenges. I moved back in with her, and it was just tough. We didn't have much to eat. I ended up going hanging out on the streets, getting involved in drugs and gangs. And around 12 years old, I started getting arrested. 13 years old. Arrested in and out of juvenile hall. 14 years old, I got jumped in a gang fight. I got beat up by about 15, 20 guys thrown in the street in East Side San Jose, ran over by a car like a speed bump. And at the age of 15, I got arrested for a very serious crime with a group of folks, the kids, and they were trying to give me 15 years to life, tried as
No.
an adult. And it was pretty wild. So I joke about it now. It's nothing to joke about, but it's like it was so serious that they did two documentaries on my life, seriously. So I came out on ABC Nightline with Ted Koppel. I don't know how many of you know Ted Koppel or seen his old videos on Nightline. So I got to meet him and they did a story on my life. And then I was also on PBS Frontline, um, and it was basically a story of juvenile justice and how some of the most challenged kids were, facing the odds to succeed in life. And I was one of the four kids that they picked because we were like the worst of the worst in jail as young kids being tried as adults. So like Ed said, the odds were kind of stacked against me. And to top it off, when I got arrested at the age of 15, I go in for the physical exam, and the doctor called me in while I'm in juvenile hall, and she says, "Oh, we have something to tell you. You have focal segmental glomerulonephritis." I'm like, and that's how traumatic it was. I still remember the name. And I'm like, "What is that?" She's like, "It's a rare kidney disease that you may not survive. And we're going to see what we can do." And um, we're going to start, they would shackle me and transport me back and forth to the Valley Medical Hospital. And I'd do dialysis, went through a lot of medications. And then God definitely has a purpose for me, or the universe, whoever you believe in, has taken care of me because I was somehow cured from all of that after about a year of going through a bunch of things. And I haven't had any challenges with my kidneys ever since. So to end the story, at the age of 18, I was given a second chance to start my life over. Um, I was tried as an adult. They gave me 4 years as an adult on my adult record. I ended up getting out, and I still had no guidance. I had to find my way, staying at my sister's house. I got kept hanging out with the same people. I just didn't know any better, and so I ended up going in and out. I ended up going to prison a couple of times. And in prison is where I had my insight or my aha moment of possibility, because I think the challenge I was facing, like most of us, is that I didn't know what I wanted, who I was. I didn't realize how I had been programmed through my young years of life. I didn't realize how your parents influence how you grow up and how you become as an adult. And I didn't know anything, right? I was just going through life trying to figure it out one day at a time. And I was in prison one day, and the warden calls me. They're like, "Jose Badillo, the warden wants to speak to you." I said, "The warden doesn't speak to anybody. What must be going on?" So I go over there, and he tells me, "Your mom is on life support, and we're about to pull the plug, and we're going to ship you out to go see her the next couple of days." And I went back to my bed. I cried. I remember, going through that experience. And then miraculously, my mom didn't die. She's still around. I get to take care of her still. She's 70 and healthy. But I remember in my bed, I was going crazy. I had to get out of my cell. So I signed up for this program I didn't even know what it was. It was like a self-help program inside the prison in Susanville. And I went in, and it was basically a self-help program where this instructor came in to give us some education on a couple different topics. But one of them was Tony Robbins. She put his cassette tape in the VHS, right? In the VCR, and then played the video. I remember Tony Robbins saying a bunch of things. I don't know how many of you know Tony Robbins. And it was very inspirational, and it made me think, I'm actually a good person. I actually care about people. I'm not the brightest bulb. I don't have a college degree, but I'm pretty smart. I like to read, and I like to learn. And I could still do things with my life. Like my life's not total crap, like there's possibility, there's hope, and I got inspired, and I was just like, something inside of me started to think bigger and dream bigger. And I remember writing down all my goals and thinking of what I wanted to do when I get out. One day I want to save $1,000 a month, and I want to, get a good job. And like I started to dream, and that was like a big transformational time for me. Um, that I didn't know that was happening. It just happened, and it slowly started to unfold. So my mom got out of the coma. She woke up a couple days later, and I got out maybe a year later, and I ended up going um, looking for a job. And so I went to this program where they were helping ex-cons, and they said we can give you a job for 1 day. This is a program for people who have been formerly incarcerated, and we can give you a job, but you have to come back tomorrow with a black long sleeve shirt, a black tie, black slacks, and black dress shoes. And I'm like, oh, I got a job for a day, right? They're like, we're gonna put some money in your pocket. And I'm like, but darn, how am I gonna get this uniform? I don't have any money, right? But I was inspired. I was motivated. I was energetic. I wanted it. I wanted it so bad. So they had given me a piece of paper when I had uh, gotten out of resources. And I used every single resource on that paper. And I went to the churches, I went to the Salvation Army, I went everywhere that was on there. That's how I had got the job lead. And so I had to go to two churches. One gave me the pants and the shoes. They said, we don't have the shirt and the tie, but if you go across town, you can get the shirt and the tie. So I rode a BMX bike, my nephew's BMX bike, because I didn't have a car or money for the bus. And I rode the bike all the way across San Jose, which is a pretty big city if you know it. And then I got my shirt and tie. I had this older guy, I think he was about 80 years old, teaching me how to tie a tie. And I'm like, I'm ready. I go back the next day. I go into this conference room with a bunch of us with long sleeve shirts and ties. And I remember my mindset was so different because I just remember thinking like, oh, it was white shirt. It was a white shirt and black ties, not black shirt. And I remember thinking, we all look like freaking penguins. What are we gonna do here? Because no one's telling me what we're going to do. Right. And so the lady comes out, she says, okay, everybody, thank you for coming. Tomorrow you guys are gonna work. You're gonna do a banquet, a party, an event, and this is how you carry a tray. This is how you serve food. This is how you pour drinks. And I go, oh, we're gonna be like servers for catering. Cool. And we went out and we did it. And then they liked how I worked. They called me back for another gig, and then another gig, and then they sent me to San Jose State. And a lot of the people that were in that room that day from the first day they didn't make it, right? Like they weren't they weren't really like into doing what had to be done because it's hospitality. You gotta know how to treat the guests. You have to really do it um with good energy, good vibes, and so I was really getting most of the jobs, and then ended up starting to work more and more and more. And one day, a friend of mine, he says, so I'm working for this temporary staffing agency in hospitality for about 3, 4 months, bunch of gigs all over Stanford University, San Jose State, some high tech companies, some private companies, and I'm making $11 an hour, and I'm just like so pumped. And one day, my friend, I run into him on the streets, and he says, "Hey, Jose, how's it going?" I go, "Oh, it's good. I'm doing some catering gigs, you know." And he goes, "Well, they're hiring at this high tech company. Why don't you go and apply for the catering there?" And I go, oh man, I don't know if they're gonna hire me. He goes, why? He goes, I said, I'm on parole, and I have a record. And he's like, dude, they hired me. And he literally had tattoos all over his face, right? Like on his neck and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? You got a point, man. Get me the interview, please. And so he gets me the interview. I go to this high tech company, Agilent Technologies in Santa Clara, and the lady interviews me. It was just a blessing or luck, an opportunity. Sometimes those special moments come when you least expect them. And uh, they were opening this brand new cafe. Had this big, catering department, and they needed all the people they could get. And the lady says, "When can you start? I like your personality." I said, "Well, I'm ready. I got the shirt and tie on, and I'm ready to go." I mean, it was all I had, right? So I'm like, "I'm ready." And she's like, "Oh, you seem ready. Let's go. Can you start today?" I said, "Yeah." I remember she grabbed my hand, took me. She says, we got trailers full of stuff. You need to start unloading. You can work 15 hours a day if you want, as many days as you want until we get this place open. And it was the biggest opportunity of my life. So I took it and I worked my butt off. 6 months later, became a catering director. I started in catering. She trained me to be a catering director because she saw potential in me. She believed in me. I knew nothing about food, how to create menus, how to price things out, but I learned. And then 2008, 2009 came. The economy crashed, real estate market, all those things happened that you guys I'm sure know of. And it was another big opportunity for me. Even in the moment of crisis, there's opportunity, right? I mean, there's more opportunity sometimes even in moments of crisis. And so they laid everybody off, including my boss, because she was really expensive. And I'm the cheap guy. I'm like the catering director at 15 bucks an hour. So they say, Jose, can you maintain the restaurant, the cafeteria inside this high-tech company? Can you maintain catering department? Can you do everything? Can you be the chef? Can you be? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. I'll give it a shot. And so I ended up running the entire company for that organization, and I ended up becoming the food service director, general manager of this corporate company for high tech companies. We basically subcontracted with all these high tech companies to run their food service operations. So I ended up working for Seagate Technologies. I ended up managing the food service and opening up the food service operations in Amazon in Sunnyvale. I ended up moving on to the Federal Reserve Bank in San Francisco, and I managed their entire, cafeterias, catering, and everything there. So I did that for about 10 years. But then I got to a point where I could no longer grow, and so mm, I kept studying. Now I have a home, I have two kids. My life started to really, evolve, and I'm like, what could I do next? I'm studying. I know I'm doing good, but I feel like I can't grow anymore. And so I went back to the staffing agency and I I asked the owner, I said, can I run your staffing agency? Because I know what you need. I used to be an employee. I actually order staff for my cafeterias now from you. And I think I can grow your company. Give me a shot. And I want to make some more money. And she says, okay, sure. So I did. In 2015, I grew her company from $1 million revenue business. By 2019, I grew it to about $10 million from 50 employees to 350 employees right before COVID. Um, and then I bought the company in 2019. And that was a life-changing moment. Became an entrepreneur, have a bunch of employees. I have this freedom and ability to create and to give back. And of course, COVID came and took us off for a spin, but we were able to recover after that um and just keep growing. And so it's been a beautiful journey. There's so much more to my story, and so now I give back to my community. And we're filming a new documentary on my life with the same producer who produced the old documentaries. I reached out to her a couple years ago. I said, "Hey, Janet, you remember me?" Because she used to write me letters and send me money because no one else would when I was incarcerated. None of my family or mom or anybody would support me, but she believed in me, and so I reached out to her and I said, do you remember me? She goes, yes, of course I do. I always wondered how you were doing. And so I shared my story. She goes, we have to do a story on your life. We have to create, a short film, and it can even probably win an Emmy Award. She says, let's do it. And I said, okay. So we've been filming it last year. Um, I brought back Cinco de Mayo, the parade and the festival to downtown San Jose. I funded it, I organized it. And I've been doing so many other things in the community just to give back. I realize that change happens in your life when you have clarity of what you want, why you want it, right? When you have consciousness about possibility and how as humans we're so capable of so much more. But the biggest one was really the caring. I think I just care so much, not about just myself, but about everybody as a whole. And even when I was incarcerated, even when I was going through stuff, like I just feel like I was caring for other people, kind. I was always trying to help people without expecting anything in return. And I think that for me has been so fulfilling. But now to be able to do that at another level, it's just so freaking fun. And I still have challenges, I still have problems like everybody. It's not all, fine and dandy. Uh, but it's just a beautiful story, And so now,
It really
I
is.
created, so I got the second chance to life, and so I created a coaching business called Second Chance to Life, and that's now my passion and purpose is to coach people who, well, entrepreneurs or people that are formerly incarcerated.
Yeah, your
So
story is crazy, Jose. Like I had mentioned to everybody, and thank you so much. This is an excellent presentation. My one question to you is: so, would you say, are your biggest takeaways from the beginning till now that you would want to impart to everybody? What are your takeaways?
yeah, so one is that we all go through struggles in life. We all have had challenges, whether at home or in life or whatever it is. And that should empower us, not pull us down, right? Sometimes we carry that baggage of pain that keeps us moving slower through our life, but we need to burn that pain, burn those challenges, burn those lessons of failures, burn it up as gas and let it push us forward to learn from it, to grow from it, and to not look back, with that pain anymore. That's one. Um, Two is to just understand how much possibility there is. Life is short. This is our life. This is our time. Every moment is so valuable. So like let's understand how much potential and opportunities are out there to just enjoy every moment and to create. But I think the biggest one for me, people always ask me like, how do you what do you think helped you make it through? And I think again, I think it's just the caring. I think it's about caring about something bigger than yourself, about caring about others, contributing back. I think that's been my biggest strength. Um, and you have to be vulnerable. Right? There's a lot of vulnerability in caring because people are like, why are you treating these people like why are you just like people will tell you all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, I'm not here to judge. That's God's job. I am just
Ooh, that's
here
a big lesson
to
right there, my friend.
I'm here to be an example. Let's be an
No,
example to others.
and you are, and thank you so so much. And you know what? I couldn't stress more that the importance of it is you want to get out of a tough situation, help somebody else get out of their tough situation. It really is about that, guys. How do we sow seeds into other people's lives? And look, this guy went from there's no way he's going to be able to make it to making it and to now helping others also, right, achieve and to be happy in their lives and fulfilled. And that's really at the end of the day, love matters and love makes the difference. So, Jose, as always, man, thank you so much. By the way, you and I got to do some dinner. I know we've been talking, but I will shoot you an email here right after
Yes.
the meeting. And thank you so, so much. And for the sake of time, folks, we're not going to have time to ask him questions, but he is in the email that I sent out to everybody as a reminder. If you want to reach out to him, I strongly recommend you do because the story is actually longer than obviously we have
Yeah.
time here for. But thank you so, so much, Jose.
Hey, thank you,
Inspiring
Ed.
as
And
always,
just
right?
like you said, you're the one giving the love out there, man. So good job to everything
Thank
you're
you.
doing because you inspire me too. When you spoke
Thanks, Jose.
with my employees last time, it was just your energy, your caring, your love is very
I
powerful
appreciate
too. And
that,
what you're
man.
doing
We're
for the
doing our best,
community,
you
man.
know. Let's keep spreading, and that's why this group exists. By the way, all these folks here, believe it or not, are just amazing people. All of them, handpicked for
I
this
see
group
that.
specifically. So, thank you very, very much. Okay, Ian, take it from here. We have new members, please,
Yeah, as far as
and then Gloria.
as far as I'm seeing, I only saw two since 8:15, which is Misty de Amore, I believe it is, and Yolanda Jones.
That is correct. And I don't know if they're here today, but let's welcome them regardless.
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. Gloria, take it from here, please. Thank you.
Okay, I will do that. All right. Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see so many um, old faces and new faces. That's always fun. Nice, really nice and inspiring share from Jose. That was awesome. I enjoyed that immensely.
But by the way, guys, I know he's not here, right? He left.
I think he
Let
did.
me let me make sure. Okay. just really quickly. So just so you understand context here, this guy went from $11 to now making north of $550,000 a month. A month. Okay. That's not small change. So think about that for a second. $11, right? With a not so good record. So anybody could do it. Let's go out there and do it. And it's not about the money, right? Because whatever you don't need, whatever your overage is, that's the ability to help others.
Absolutely. And I think that's the key element. If you help other people, and I think what was paramount, what he shared, is with when you do help people, don't expect anything in return. You got to pay it forward. You got to remember, how you got there.
Unconditional. Yes.
Right. And somebody in your career helped you. So with that, I think that's what we're going to open with. And the way that we do this with BNG is that I go across my feed and then I reach out to every person that is on there. So Ian, you are first. And so just because for sake of time, because we have lots of people today, um, introduce your